Do different people understand the word racism differently? Hi, I'm Jason Cole, pastor here at Regal Heights Church. Thank you for tuning in today to another one of our daily devotionals. Today, with what's going on around the world and has been going on really forever, let alone the last week, is I want to talk to you a bit more about racism. And I have noticed something over the years that different people define racism different. The subtleties are minor, but the implications are big. And my hope today is that by defining that from at least my perspective, which I'm not an authority on this, I'm just sharing my couple decades of ministry, plus my whole life of living in a diverse area of our country. And I hope to be able to give a bit of insight that we can grow together, that we can recognize what is racism and what isn't, so that we can treat everybody that they're created in the image of God, because they are. First is this. When hearing from my black brothers and sisters, my friends, who often will say that racism is anything that is, of course, the overt racist hatred and aggression, but also the things that are lack of respect that they wouldn't get that someone else would, the suspicion, and other less obvious ways to which people treat them differently simply based upon the color of their skin. Now, the average white person, it seems, in my estimation, when I talk to my brothers and sisters and my friends, that they see that racism only applies to things where hatred, aggression, and thought or indeed are at play. Now, they recognize that racial bias is wrong, where there is a lack of respect, or they recognize that that is wrong, but not necessarily to the point of calling it racist. Why? I don't know why, but that seems to be where a bit of a cutoff point is for a great many people. Now, I'm not talking about the people who are overtly racist. This conversation is not even for them. I don't even know how to reach those folks. But what I want to talk about is for the average person, of defining terms so that we can understand what people deal with on a daily basis so that we can come together. And so on top of that, with the average white person, if they have been seen as a racial bias and are told they're racist, they automatically think that they're being told that they're full of hate. Now, their actions are not good and they are wrong, but they often don't feel that they're hateful. And then we end up pushing back on this word back and forth. Well, this person thinks I'm that, well, that person, and then we lose sight of the real deal. And the real deal is this, and I'll give an example from some of my own friends. I'm a pastor. I've got lots of pastors who are white and lots of pastor friends who are black. And I got to tell you this is what breaks my heart. I can go anywhere in this city and nobody questions why I'm there. I can return almost any object and be refunded without asking for the receipt. Nobody checks up on me when I'm shopping. And in fact, even when it's going to McDonald's or the Superstore or wherever, I can go and be treated with more respect in shorts and a t-shirt, and my black pastor friends would have to wear a suit and tie and act super professional to be treated that same level of respect. And that is not right. And that is racist, because it is making a judgment on somebody that they are lesser than just because of the color of their skin. And I got to tell you this, with being with people in my church who are black and other friends who are black as well, it is really endemic. And so my message really today is for those who are interacting with our black friends in our community is this. These racial bias that exist, whether it be a lack of respect, a lack of seriousness of taking them seriously, their complaints or their difficulties, when they need to return something, when they're inquiring of something, they're often treated like children. And I've seen it, and it breaks my heart. I pray that we would recognize that everybody is made in the image of God, and whatever it is that has gotten into anybody who has made anyone to think lesser of somebody else based upon the color of their skin, I pray that God would remove that we would identify where the source of that came from, that we would turn from that and never revisit that. I know this is a touchy subject, and I'd love to be talking to you about happy, feel-good things. But here it is, 2020, and we are still dealing with these issues. You know what? We all have our struggles, and we can often be dismissive of racial bias, that is, by the way, racism, because it is a distinction based upon race, that we recognize that, yes, we all have difficulties, but we don't have the added burden of trying to navigate this life and our difficulties while being looked down upon, or looked different than, because of the color of our skin. And you know what? We're all familiar with the phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back. So when we see that our friends are down, we see that they get demeaned, and we think, well, don't be too sensitive. It's just that incident. No, it wasn't. It was many incidents. And though there may not be much straw on our back, there's many straws on their back. And I pray that we can help them to carry the load, that we can treat them simply with the dignity that they ask, to be treated like anybody else. And I can tell you, it's all these little things that weigh down on them. Anyone can rail against an overt act of hatred through racism. But it takes a brave person to recognize when you're looking down on somebody simply because they have a different skin tone. So I pray this blesses you. I pray that we as a community can be knit together, and I can pray that we stop being divided over issues of race, and that we can love on one another and give everybody the benefit of the doubt. God bless you. Have a great day.